Welcome, Queens. If you're over 50 and you are still struggling to find the right foundation for you, it's not necessarily you. It could be the product, it could be the process, it could be the coverage. My name is Amy. I am in the tech space by day with a corporate career, and by night I am your beauty passionista, certified makeup artist, beauty educator, and today I want to break down for you the best ways to figure out what could potentially be your holy grail foundation. So step one is you need to understand what your skin type is. And at this phase in our life, I'm quite sure the majority of us do know what our skin type is. So the skin type will determine what type of foundation you should be using on your skin. So for example, if you're oily, which means you're pretty much oily all over, you tend to have larger pores and foundation slides off your face halfway through the day, then you know you're oily. If you're dry, you're gonna be have a few more maybe flaky patches, your skin feels tight, foundation tends to cling in certain areas more so than in others, and you might even have a little bit of dullness. Now, what's a little bit different is if you're dehydrated. Dehydrated and dry are not the same. So for example, dry skin does not produce enough oil. Typically, that's just part of our DNA. Dehydrated skin is a temporary situation in that your skin just doesn't have enough water, right? And you can fix that. You'll still have that tightness, you'll have that dullness, but you don't tend to have any flaking like you would necessarily with dry skin. Normal skin, you're the luckiest bunch of all because you're not too dry, you're not too oily, and you can wear pretty much anything. And then if you're sensitive, it means that your skin tends to be reactive. It's very easily irritated. You might have a lot of redness depending on products that you're using. The next thing you want to do is you want to figure out what your undertone is. And there are so many ways that you can do that. So for example, if you're a cool undertone, you're going to have more pinks and reds in your skin, maybe even a little bit of blue. The veins might look blue or purple, and you will likely tend to burn when you're out in the sun. When you're warm, you're going to have more of that yellow, peachy, golden look to your skin. You probably tan pretty easily. And then if you're neutral, you might have a mix of both. And your veins could tend to look blue or green, so sometimes it's hard to tell. So here are some ways that you can try and figure out your undertone. So for example, the vein test, tried and true, right? You're either bluish purple or you're more of a green. If you're more green, you're going to be on the warm side. Now mine tend to be more blue purple. I'm actually a neutral because I do have a little bit of pink in my face in spots, but then I also have a little bit of that yellowy tone as well. The other sunburn test, although that's not 100%, it's just one of those things that you could factor in. You also want to think about what your skin looks in natural light. Do you tend to pick up when you're barefaced and you're in natural light with the sun coming towards you? Can you see different tones and shades in your skin? Another test that, you know, long time ago people said worked is like, do you look better in silver jewelry or do you look better in gold? I tend to gravitate towards silver. Sometimes, obviously, that does depend on what I'm wearing. Gold might go better, but I know that I am neutral, sometimes leaning more to the cool side. There's other ways to test for your undertone. One, you can color swatch. Who remembers back in the 80s and I think early 90s? I'm going to show you guys this book, and some of you, it's going to be a blast from the past. It's called Color Me Beautiful. That's when the whole concept of determining your season got really, really popular. There were ladies that would come to your house and they'd have a whole bunch of, you know, different color swatches, and they would hold them up to your skin just to see how your skin reflected the color, right? So this one here is like, you know, you could be a summer, you could be an autumn, and I know it's made a resurgence, but with a little bit of a more modern twist to it. So it's kind of fun to see that come back around. But a good way to test is, you know, go to your closet and pull out like a bright white shirt and an off-white shirt and just hold them up to your skin in natural light and see, does your face look brighter with one of those shades, or does it look more washed out? So for me, I have to wear bright white because off-white or cream colors just completely wash me out. And of course, I have to mention tech, right? So if you go to Sephora, they have their virtual artist, which can help determine your undertone. L'Oreal also has a shade finder. I believe it's on their website. I'll have to double check that. But there's also a platform called YouCam, Y-O-U-C-A-M. You can also download that on your phone. That will not only allow you to find your shade, it lets you test out different makeup shades. And then there's some smart mirrors that I'm on the fence about. Haven't gotten a lot of positive feedback. One of them is called the High Mirror. Pretty expensive. They have 3 different levels of that mirror, and it's supposed to tell you, oh, you have, you know, these lines and wrinkles, which, duh, we know this, right? But then it also will give you information about your skin and your undertone. But the tech is not as efficient as it could be. The software tends to be a little bit clunky, so I wouldn't bother spending the money. And then there's another brand called Lumini that has won multiple awards over the last 3 to 4 years at the Consumer Electronics Show in Vegas, but it's not available here. I believe it's only available in South Korea because I've not been able to find it. So the third thing is you want to determine what formula is right for your skin. So for example, your liquid foundations, those can work with any kind of skin. It really just depends on the liquid formula that you choose. For oily skin, powder foundations are fantastic. This one here is from One Size. I personally don't use powder foundations. I never seem to have very good luck with them. I have tried the hydrating powders that are marketed to be, you know, great for mature skin, and I just haven't had good luck with them yet, but maybe someday I will. And then you have your creams, your cream foundations, which is actually really good for mature skin. This one here is from No Makeup Makeup, and I did a swatch and wear test on this one a while back. They're great for mature skin, great for on the go. And you've also got your cushion foundations, and I'm gonna open this one. I have not opened this one yet. This one's from Tier. This is the Mask Fit Cushion Foundation. It's not the red one, it's one of the other ones, and I'm not 100% sure, quite frankly, what the difference is with this one. I haven't really played with it, but these are great. I have played with other cushion foundations, and although this looks dark, they are never this dark when they come out of the pan. But these are great for just real super light on the go coverage. The other thing I've really been liking lately are foundation sticks. So for example, this one is from Dior Backstage, and we're gonna talk about this in just a second. And then this one is from LYS. And then of course you have BB creams or CC creams and universal tinted moisturizers, which during the summer I tend to rely on the tinted moisturizers quite a bit, especially since I live in a very hot, humid climate. So then you have your shade matching. How should you match your skin? And there's so many schools of thought out there. I tend to match on my jawline right in through here. We know that this part of our neck is the lightest. So I don't want to necessarily test here. I want something that I'm going to be able to blend from my face into my neck that's not going to look too off. You can even test on your chest area. The other thing that people don't think about is, depending on the formula, you might want to let it sit for just a bit, because some foundations, once they hit the air, they tend to oxidize, which means they can tend to get a little bit darker. But you may not necessarily see that right away, so it may look fantastic when you've swatched it in the store and you purchase it and get it home, and then once you have it on your face and you wear it for a little bit, you're like, wow, this doesn't look like the same color that I put on this morning. Do you have any skin concerns that you're trying to address with your foundation? Fine lines and wrinkles, acne, anything that the foundation and the formula could potentially enhance when you want to detract from it. And when you also think about it, you also want to think about the season, right? Summertime, you want lighter products, something that's not heavy on your face. Wintertime, you want something a little bit heavier because you're dealing with cold air, you're dealing with forced hot air in the buildings that you're in or in your home. So you might want something that's a little bit more hydrating and a little bit heavier. And honestly, I have different formulas and different shades depending on what season we're in. And when you're in, your Ultas, your Sephora's, or where have you, where you're purchasing your foundation and it's a new product to you, don't hesitate to ask for a sample, because they should be able to give you a sample so you can go home and test it in your own environment with your own application methods to see if that's something that's really going to work for you. The other thing that I would look for, and I've done this myself, is see if there's a mini version. So for example, the Armani Luminous Silk, you can buy in a mini versions before you decide to splurge and buy the full size. So let's talk about recommendations for foundation. For dry, mature skin, the NARS Light Reflecting Foundation. It's skincare infused, very hydrating, beautiful light to medium coverage. As I mentioned previously, I am in love with the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. I actually just started trying this out a few months ago, but it's got a beautiful silky finish. I just absolutely love it. The Dior Backstage Foundation Stick. I find this to be really creamy. Let's see, I never know where to freaking swatch this stuff. I have bracelets on today, which isn't helping. So we're gonna just swatch it here, but it goes on really, really creamy. And I know that this looks a little bit too dark for me on camera, but when I actually put it on and blend it out, it's perfect. The other one that I really like is this one from LYS. This one is super hydrating, very, very creamy. Nice satin finish when you blend it out. And you can see that this one, a little bit lighter. I love both of them. Then we have the Maybelline Fit Me Dewy and Smooth formula or the L'Oreal True Match Super Blendable. I like both of these. They have great coverage. I do struggle a bit with finding the right shades when I end up purchasing it from like a CVS or a Walgreens. So if you need to swatch it first, maybe try going to an Ulta. But the Maybelline Fit Me has a really nice radiant finish. And the L'Oreal True Match has hyaluronic acid in it, so it's going to give you that nice healthy glow to your skin. Now for oily skin, I don't have a lot of oily skin foundations on hand because the majority of my clients that I work with tend to be dry or dehydrated and not really oily. But I do have on hand the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless, which is a satin coverage, and it actually contains micro powders, which is great for oil absorption. Then you have the NARS Soft Matte, which is full coverage, oil absorption, and then the OG. Like, this foundation is probably in or has been in every makeup artist kit, is the Estee Lauder Double Wear. I purchased this because I was like, okay, I've heard so many people talk about it. Let me try it. It is a little too, for me and my preference, it's a little too heavy, but you can thin these out a little bit and make them more sheer. Another foundation that I absolutely fell in love with, and I think it's good for any skin, whether you're oily, you're dry, you're dehydrated, you're combo, you're normal. It's the Dior Backstage Liquid. It's got a satin finish, and this foundation is absolutely gorgeous on the skin. So what I really like is it's a plastic bottle, and it comes in this type of applicator, so you can actually squeeze it out. So what I'll tend to do is I have certain staple shades in my kit because I can mix them together and come up with the perfect shade. So definitely worth the investment with the Dior Backstage. And when it comes to BBCC creams, one of my favorites right now is, I love this one from Nicole Beauty. There's another one from Senna Cosmetics that I absolutely love. I just happen to be out of it right now. And for tinted moisturizer, my tried and true that I keep repurchasing is the one from Dermatology, which is their universal tinted moisturizer with an SPF of 46. So if you're still with me, You now know more about foundation than probably a majority of the shoppers in the beauty stores. If this helped you feel more confident about your next shopping trip to find your next favorite foundation, let me know in the comments. I would love to know what tip surprised you the most or what tip you already knew. And if you're ready to stop playing the guessing game when it comes to foundations, go ahead and book your one-on-one and you and I can go through the challenges that you're having. We can do a skin analysis and what kind of coverage you like, and we can crack the foundation code to find the perfect product for your everyday routine. Until next time, my queens, keep owning your beauty, and I will see you in the next video.